in what is being viewed as a bid to gain political advantage in Telangana ahead of the Lok Sabha elections, the BJP-led centre on Tuesday announced that it will celebrate September 17 every year as Liberation Day. In particular, Hyderabad Liberation Day is what they're going to call it. Now, in the notification, the Union Home Ministry has said that Hyderabad did not get independence for 13 months after India's independence on August 15, 1947, and was under the rule of the Nizams. Keep in mind that last year as well, Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, had drawn parallels between the KCR government or the then KCR government and Nizam era Razakars, who during the Nizam's rule in the Hyderabad state were infamous for alleged brutalities and atrocities against the Hindu population there. Now, is this an attempt by the BJP to reset the narrative of Telangana's history as one of its key agenda? Now, keep in mind that in the earlier assembly elections as well, the BJP manifesto promised that the date of the Bairanpalli massacre will be officially marked as Razakar Horrors Remembrance Day as well. So now to what we are basically trying to understand here is why this argument over whether it is Liberation Day or Integration Day, Merger Day, Betrayal Day, or even Independence Day. These are several names that have been floated for September 17, but has found no convincing answer so far. Why have all the political narratives fallen by the wayside? So to understand more on this, I'm joined by senior political analyst, Professor Nageshwar. Thank you for joining us on this discussion today. So what do you make of BJP's move to declare September 17 as Hyderabad Liberation Day?
Well, September 17th has a special place in the history of people of Telangana region. The then Hyderabad state, which comprised of not just the people of Telangana region, but certain areas of Karnataka and Maharashtra, which were part of the composite state of Hyderabad. It is true that when India became independent in 1947, the people of Hyderabad state were not independent. So the tricolor was not hoisted in Telangana. So the reason for that was Telangana was under the princely state of Nizam. He did not agree for the integration of Hyderabad state with the Union of India. So on September 17, 1948, the Hyderabad state was officially integrated with the Union of India. Therefore, it is certainly an integration day, a day on which the people of Telangana region, for that matter, people of certain areas of Karnataka and Maharashtra who formed part of the Hyderabad state became part of the proud nation called India. So obviously, Telangana should celebrate this day as a day of integration with the Union of India. So that is an historical fact. But the BJP wants to twist it as a liberation day by peddling a narrative that Hindu population were under Muslim ruler and therefore Hindus were liberated from the Muslim king, which was not true. In fact, Shahbullah Khan, the journalist who fought against the Nizam Rajakats, the private army of Nizam, was brutally killed by the private army of Nizam. So similarly, the Maghdum Moinuddin, the famous Urdu poet, fought against the Nizam regime. So there are feudal lords, lot of landlords who are essentially Hindu landlords who were supporting the Nizam rule. So it's not an Hindu-Muslim fight. It was a struggle. It was a class struggle against the feudal exploitation led by the communists called the famous Telangana People's Armed Struggle. And it is a struggle which had a place in the history of India, not only India, in the history of the working class movements across the world. So this day has such a significance. So this movement has certain significance. Nearly 4,000 people became martyrs in the fight against the Nizam regime and the feudal landlords who supported Nizam, and also the Indian Union subsequent to September 1948, who were supporting the landlords. So therefore, the Telangana people fought against the brutal feudal regime and an oppressive monarchy. So it was not an Hindu-Muslim issue and it is just a figment of imagination by the BJP, which had no role in the struggle for freedom in this region. Neither the RSS nor the present-day BJP were in any way associated with this historic struggle. Show me one leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party who has an history of participating in the Telangana People's Armed Struggle against the Rajakars and Nizam. Not a single leader, you can't even name. You have leaders who fought against the Nizam autocracy and the Rajakar, the brutal private army of Nizam, and feudal landlords in the communist and even in Congress and other parties, but not a single leader can be found in Bharatiya Janata Party. Why is it? They have no role in the history at all. And they are now trying to rewrite this history by peddling a narrative that it was a Hindu-Muslim fight and Hindus were liberated from the Muslim king. So, which is travesty of history for the people of Telangana. And therefore, it is essential integration day. Unfortunately, the BRS regime, the KCR regime, was not ready to celebrate it even as an integration day, precisely for a Muslim appeasement politics, which came as a weapon for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Only in the run-up to the 2023 assembly elections, KCR regime agreed to celebrate this day as an integration day, as a national unity day, national integration day. And interestingly, the TRS ally MIM also took part in this national integration day. That has put an end to the BJP's divisive narrative, because ever since the Modi government came to power, they were celebrating it as a liberation day. So it is the both narratives are wrong. The KCR regime's narrative that if we celebrate this day, it will hurt the Muslims. Ordinary Muslims have nothing to do with the Nizam. It was essentially a monarchy. MIM may have a historical legacy going back to the Rajakars. But why should TRS worry? In fact, during the movement for separate state, KCR promised to celebrate September 17th. But because of his friendship with MIM, because of a fear of Muslim law, Muslim vote, and by succumbing to a narrative of Hindu-Muslim divide, so the TRS did not celebrate it as a part of its Muslim appeasement politics. The BJP exploited this stand of KCR regime. So they have gone to another extent, calling it a liberation day. So it is the people of Telangana, the landless working class of Telangana, fought for the liberation from the feudal monarchy. The BJP, neither the BJP nor the Sangh Parivar was opposed to the Hindu feudal lords. So it was a class struggle. It was not a religious struggle. It was an anti-feudal, anti-monarchy struggle, but nothing to do with the communal narrative which the BJP is trying to project. You go to any village of Telangana, especially in the Khammam, Nalgonda, Varangal belt, everybody will tell you this is the narrative. So this is the narrative which people of Telangana in every village know. You have martyrs in every village. Who are those martyrs? They have become martyrs in the communist-led Telangana People's Armed Struggle. So interestingly enough, the BJP is trying to appropriate that legacy now.
Absolutely, Professor Nageshwar. That's an interesting point that you raised. A couple of points that you made there. Basically about how BJP exploited the stand of BRS or the lack of stand over there and the appeasement politics, and also BJP trying to communalize this. But also another interesting point that you made there is the BJP had no role, the RSS had no role. But one thing that the BJP is looking to do is trying to identify the surrender of the Nizam's forces to the Indian army after the police action that happened back then. And they are trying to say that this was the sole achievement of the first Home Minister of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So do you see this narrative having some sort of stand here?
It is a fact of history that the Sardar Patel was the Home Minister when Indian Army entered and the Nizam of Hyderabad surrendered. But tell me, I will tell you another historical fact. What happened after the surrender of Nizam? If Sardar Patel had ordered police action to annex Hyderabad from the autocratic king, the Nizam should be sent to jail. Nizam should be sent to exile. But Nizam was made Raj Pramukh, which is now equivalent to governor. Will any forces, will anybody who has annexed and defeated a king who rebelled to join the Indian Union, will make the same king as a Raj Pramukh? So he was a Raj Pramukh. What does it mean? So the Nizam was honored with the title of Raj Pramukh. And can we say why the police action wasn't? Was the police action to remove Nizam or to re-herald him or relaunch him as a Raj Pramukh? This is a fact of history. So then, why did Indian Army remain in Hyderabad state even after Nizam surrendered? For whose benefit they stayed in the Indian Army? The Indian Army was asked to stay in Hyderabad state. Precisely they were supporting the landlords who were reoccupying the lands which were liberated from the feudal regime through the Telangana people's armed struggle. More Telangana sons and daughters have died in the fight against Indian army backing feudal landlords rather than the Nizam. Was this not the fact of history? Then I will tell you another interesting. Why were elections not held immediately after Nizam surrendered? Why did they take so long? So the reason is very simple. The reason is the feudal landlords transformed themselves into the Congress leaders. They started wearing Nehru topis, and Indian army supported the feudal landlords. 4,000 villages which were liberated from the feudal landlords and the lands which the landless poor started cultivating actually were taken away by the feudals by again. So it was a operation to support the landlord regime which was vanquished and which crumbled due to the historic people's armed struggle in Telangana. And Nizam was honored in the process. So the Telangana people's armed struggle fought against the Nizam. The famous song which is there in the popular Telugu movie Mabhumi also. Bandenaka bandi kartam padaharu bandlu kortam Golconda kila kinda gori kartam koduko. What does it mean? Chutumutu Suryapeta Natanadama Nalagonda Golconda kila kinda gori kartam koduko. What does it signify? It signifies that the landless poor of Telangana revolted against the Nizam and promised to bury him under the Golconda fort. Did Sardar Patel bury Nizam under the Golconda fort? Did he arrest him? He was honored with the Raj Pramukh and was given privileges till the abolition of privy purses. So what does this history tell us? So therefore, the police action was rather a symbolic act. If the police action was delayed for 15 days, Nizam would have been thrown away by the Telangana people's armed struggle. So therefore, Sardar Patel ordered police action to not only make the Nizam surrender a formality. Nizam was very, very weakened by the historic people's armed struggle, had no option except to surrender to the Indian or Sardar Patel's forces precisely to save himself and become Raj Pramukh subsequently. Otherwise his fate would have been in the dustbin of history. So that was what happened. In subsequently, the landlords were protected. The landless poor were under reign of repression, and the landlord regime was installed subsequent to all this. So those who support the landlords today defend Sardar Patel action precisely because the landlord oppressive regime was a beneficiary of Patel's action. Still, we respect Sardar Patel precisely because it was his police action that ultimately made the symbolic integration of Hyderabad state into the Indian Union. As a patriotic Indian, as a patriotic son of historic land of Telangana, I respect Sardar Patel. But you cannot twist the facts of history to satisfy your political narrative on the election eve.
Right. So, Professor Nageshwar, my final question here to you. Thanks so much for, first of all, for explaining the historical facts so well for us. Now, the way you mentioned that the communist parties, they are the ones who actually led the fight against the feudal lords. But have the left parties sort of softened the stand on the issue? And there are hardly any voices from the left parties to gain any sort of political traction right now. So is this what the BJP is really looking to exploit here? And try to build a political narrative, and how successful will this be? Because I'm just trying to understand here, why now? Why did the BJP have to put it up now? September 17th is when they want to have this day renamed as the Hyderabad Liberation Day. But is it the sort of softening of the stance of the left parties that has opened the door for the BJP here?
I don't think the left has softened its stand. Left has been making making this issue loud and clear. But the problem for the left was they are politically weakened. So the BJP is exploiting the situation in which the left narrative got weakened. So that is the political context. But the left parties have always been observing this, and anybody who knows the history, who are the martyrs of Telangana armed struggle, Chakale Ailamma. Everybody knows Chakale Ailamma was associated with the communist movement. Everybody knows Yadagiri, Bandagi, the legendary leaders of Telangana armed struggle like Bhimreddy Narasimha Reddy, Baddam Yella Reddy, Mallu Sarajyam. Bhimreddy Narasimha Reddy was a parliament member from CPIM several times. And Mallu Sarajyam was a CPM legislator and member of the Central Committee till she died recently. Baddam Yella Reddy, Ravi Narayan Reddy got more majority than Jawaharlal Nehru in the first elections in India. As a leader, as a candidate of the Communist Party of India, Ravi Narayan Reddy got more majority than Jawaharlal Nehru. This was a history everybody knows. So all these leaders are still, their legacy is fresh in the minds of the people of Telangana. So the left weakened politically. Well, of course, the BJP has gained substantially in Telangana. So the BJP, using its increased political clout, is trying to distort the history. But history cannot be consigned to the dustbin of contemporary politics. History cannot be sacrificed at the altar of contemporary politics. History remains as history.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Nageshwar. That's a beautiful take to end the discussion with. History cannot be confined to the dustbin of contemporary politics and contemporary history there. And is this really an attempt by the BJP to distort history by depicting the conflict that was waged against the Nizams as a Hindu-Muslim conflict? Will it really pay dividends in the upcoming Lok Sabha elections? That is something that still remains to be seen. For the meantime, thank you so much for joining us on this discussion today.
Thank you.